think that's working. Oh, good grief, Charlie Brown. Right, I think we're underway. I think. I thought I'd better come in and give Mike a hand because he's can't do this on his own. So hopefully he'll join in a minute. Yeah. A lovely little anniversary present from Fiona. So yeah, we tested this morning, and yeah, cool. And so's Ben. So a little bit wobbly. So I don't know where Mike is. Where are you, Mike? Where are you, buds? You got the link in your email, haven't you? I think. There he
is. Testing.
Yeah, that's working.
There we go.
You're up and going. Got no title music. That's not on this computer.
Just got to make sure I don't. Oh, for God's sake, Kent.
What?
Oh, you just sound terrible.
Yeah, I am.
Well, are you sure you want to do this, man? Because I'm happy to just call it. But if you want to just take it easy, I'll do what I can with these people.
Yeah, no, we'll get through it, because I think what we were going to be doing was
just talking
about Synthfest and thing.
Yeah, and there were a couple of news items.
Yeah.
We can do like 2 minutes for each of them. I'm not really, or we could just shoot the shit for 2 hours.
Yeah, we could always do that, bud. No, because the way I'm looking at it is that I could be in bed feeling awful, or I could be sitting here feeling awful instead and doing something,
All right. Well, I'm leaving that up to you. If you just get to the point where you're fading out, hey ho.
All I've got to do is not turn left or right very quickly.
Well, hopefully you're not going to have to turn left and right at all. Just, look at the camera and say hello to all the nice people in the computer.
Yeah. Go on. Well, that's your catchphrase. You use that. Come on.
Well, yeah, but I did it in chat. I'm not in a loud or rambunctious mood today.
Oh, okay.
I'm on a hell of a deadline, and this is the only break I'm getting all day, so I'm taking it. And we got all kinds of stuff flowing in, folks. You want to let me do the boilerplate, Kent?
Please.
I'll do the boilerplate.
Take it away.
Hello, all you wonderful people out there on the internet. This is Dr. Mike Metlay. I've been brought in by Kent Spong. Welcome to a thoroughly sick and down-tempo edition of Pro Synth Network, episode 131. The main thing is neither Kent has COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep, as I usually am. So I don't know how much. Thank you, Wagyu. We love you. I'm just going to run through the boilerplate without being able to put anything up on the screen, and we're just going to chat. Yes, Ben also has a virus. It may be COVID, it may be not, but he emailed us about an hour ago and said that he was flat on his back. And Rob is at Synthfest in Sheffield, I think.
Wonderful timing.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just sort of stagger through this. The folks in chat are being very kind. Wagyu has demonstrated that you can, in fact, click the little icon to put up a super sticker or whatever the heck it's called to donate money, and that's very much appreciated. We have the Facebook page, which we'd like you to subscribe to. Anything you donate goes into the kitty to help keep the station running. What am I missing? Fibergraphics.co.uk has t-shirts and hoodies. And what else? You'd think I'd know this. Anyway,
I think I would as well.
Yeah, well, Ken, I hate to mention this, but your brain is being parboiled at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it.
Dude, I am so sorry. If you get to the point where you just got to lie down, you can leave the stream up.
To be honest with you, it's been one of those things where, because Fiona's in a mess. I mean, I think she's got it, at least at the moment, worse than I have. And the dogs were asking to be fed, and she can't do it. So I had to get up and do it. So I'm up.
Yeah. All right.
Vaguely.
Well, then you know what? I'll see what I can do to make you laugh. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be great, man.
This will just be the Kent and Mike comedy hour.
Yeah.
The funniest. Yeah. The what was it? The Kent and Mike half-hour comedy hour. The funniest 15 minutes you'll ever see.
Yeah. Got to keep it clean. So 5 minutes.
Clean. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, then you know what? If I'm sorry, I did put in a swear word that I'm hoping somebody can bleep, but Anyway, I think what we're going to do, we can breeze through some of these news items that we have for this week. I haven't had a chance to check a lot of them, but we can at least point people to them, even if we don't have websites online. And then I don't know, just chat and some Q&A. Dieter Volka says perhaps the chat folks should run the PSN show today. And, I don't mind Q&A and just, shooting the breeze about this, that, and the other thing for a little while. And if it's not a full 2 hours, that's, not gonna hurt anybody. Oh my God, Sergio Simoes. Dr. Mike, I know you don't like to, but if the show has fewer topics today, please take some time to talk about the Team Metlay years. Sergio, I'm very flattered. I really am flattered, but I just don't know if this audience wants to hear about Team Metlay. That was a music project that I did through the 90s. It started in 1990 and it ended in 1999. And I just, some of the music was good. A lot of the music wasn't. I made a lot of friends. I lost a lot of friends, and it was a good early learning experience. And I'm not sure how much else I want to say. As always, by the way, folks, if you do have a question, please keep in mind that I am not being flagged when you signal me. So Wagyu, we'll listen to any old S, Mike. Hang on one second. Would people please try? I'm going to put a tag in chat very quickly, and I want people to try it because I'm not getting flagged when you use my usual one. So can somebody try that just to see if that gets flagged? Because otherwise I've just got to keep an eye on chat, and I'm looking at that instead of looking at your beautiful faces. So yeah. Anywho, let me see. What do we got here? We've got, oh boy, anything at all. I am just rambling like a motherfucker. Ooh, and I did it again.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I did it again. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Yeah, and it's not working either, guys. Thanks anyway. So, Okay, well, what fun. Um, yeah, bleep. I'm going to run through some of the news items just very quickly, Kent, and if you have something to chime in on, just let me know.
Sure.
There's a Kickstarter going on for a book called The Rise of a Kai Professional by David Caulfield. And it's just getting started. They're about 10% of the way to their goal. They've got a little video about it, which I haven't looked at. It's coming out of Suffolk, so I have no idea whether that's good or bad. It looks like they're doing basically it's kind of like a product catalog, and it goes from 1984 to 1995, and it seems to be focused on samplers and MPCs. They're confirmed and lined up for an interview with David Cockerell, and Toshi Tamaki, and Roger Lynn, the guy who invented the MPC 60. It looks like it's going to be an interesting book. Check out go to kickstarter.com and type in The Rise of a Kai, and it should pop up. So that's item one. Number two I want to talk about is something that I think Ken can weigh in on as well, which is there is yet another Spitfire Labs library, free library. They sent these things out regularly, no strings attached. And there's some pretty extraordinary instruments. And this one's fun. This one's called Electronic Antique. It appears to be an Ondialine, which is, and it says here, if I may quote, discover a rare gem of music history with one of the world's earliest synthesizers, the Ondialine, designed and patented by French inventor Georges Genie in the early 1940s. The lab team captured its delightfully off-kilter sound, transforming the raw recordings into a range of playful presets. Fizzling with smile-inducing possibilities, the Ondialine is as wild as your imagination. Special thanks to Forgotten Futures for archive material and resources. So there's that. I love the Ondialine, and I haven't played one in God, I don't know how many years. And I think they're doing the whole smile-inducing thing because that was a big instrument for Jean-Jacques Perry, who, as we all know, loved to laugh. And some of his stuff was just so funny. Have you ever played one, Ken, or worked on one?
No, I don't think so. No, it's one. They are very rare and very specialist.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who could be able to fix one. There's a studio in Boulder, Colorado, not far from me, that actually has two working Hammond solo voxes, which are horrendous little machines, but fun. Let me see now. Matt Evans says, Kent Spong saw the Oasis and Alex Ball's video. What a machine. You're the only person I know with one. And yes, we do need to have a shout out. Alex Ball has released yet another one of his little documentaries. It's called Traveler, a Korg retrospective. So check it out on Alex Ball's channel. Haven't had a chance to watch it. And I Sing the Body Electric has a birthday today. So cheers and many more in good health.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yep, and people these things are just flying across the screen. Can't keep up with this. Who else? We're doing a Spong show on the What could possibly go wrong? Thank you, Native VS. Thank you very much. That's much appreciated. Sorry to hear you got the lurgy, Kent. Yeah, and apparently Ben is even sicker. So
his COVID has really hit him.
Well, here's hoping that there are no lasting effects. What I'd like to ask you guys to do, again, if at all possible, is to, if you have a question for us, please hit it up with the letter Q. I don't think you need to flag it, although I suppose you could if you're flagging Kent. I can't see it, so a letter Q will at least let me find things. What else we got here? Contact 7 has been released. Who cares? No. Oh, wait a minute. Good God, we've got somebody photobombing the event here.
Whoa.
And I have, who is this guy? I don't know, but his video stream is fairly crappy. Oh my God, and oh heavens, oh this is terrible. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but all we hear is intermittent noise from you, and your frame rate is about 1 frame per minute. So
yeah, I think
you're connected, but yeah, you're pretty well frozen. You might want to turn off your video and just use audio.
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, there you are. There you are. Rob?
Oh no.
Oh no.
My God. Can you?
Guys, you are
gone.
No. Poof. Well, it was a good try. We we thought we would see a little bit of Synthfest, but I guess not. Just a picture of a couple of whoa, wait a minute. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Hi Rob, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We Kent is somehow propped up at the microphone and got the stream started.
I got the message saying the stream was going on. I thought, what the hell's going on?
Oh, Ben's flat on his back. They've both got COVID.
Oh, have you tested positive then, Ken? Oh,
yeah, and apparently Fiona's got it even worse.
This is what you get when you snog Ben.
I did not need that mental image. I did not need that mental image. I really did not. Rob, it's good to see you. How's Synthfest? Just the run up.
Brilliant, but look who I found. Hello.
Hi there.
That retrobate floating around.
Oh man.
You just pick these random people.
Oh wow, this is a better signal.
We only had to move like 10 yards down the way, and it's working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound a little bit sniffy.
A little bit sniffy. That's like saying Adolf Hitler had socialization problems.
Oh,
dear. I'm sorry to hear that.
Kent is the most conscious of the COVID victims out there right now, and he's managed to string together a lot of very coherent sentences. But
he must be ill.
Yeah, I know.
Normally that's not a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I was letting somebody else go there.
I've had so much medication I could make a cow drunk from about 400 yards if I breathed on him.
Mobile camera.
And I would like to thank Synth Addict and Andrew Brooks for being our moderators today. So good lads. So what have you seen, Rob? Anything you can talk about?
Lovely Soma stuff.
Oh, Soma's looking crazy. That
Soma's
just beyond at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm here waving a big Soma flag, but I haven't really seen anything else. I mean, it's exciting. There's lots of people around, lots of booths. It feels like a recovery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming out the lockdown, it feels like
NobCon was the same way this year.
The present company. So it should be
of course.
Yeah.
So, I have to ask, Rob, have you run into either of the folks from Bukes? Have you seen Kim or Diana?
I haven't seen either of them. I think they might be turning up in the morning because they're kind of shutting down here now. So,
yep.
But we had a nice long chat with Philip Oakey.
Oh, never heard of him.
Human League.
I know.
And of course, the lovely Dina Perlman, who we've been helping set up her stand. And
Andrew Brooks, thank you for coming by, and go have a Synthfest curry. Yeah,
we're going to see Brooksy and the rest of the gang tomorrow night for a curry. So if anybody's around, give us a shout. Who else have we seen?
David Gilden. Thank you for the $5 donation. It's good to see you. David and I go way back. We haven't spoken in decades, but when I ran the Expander Users Group magazine, he sold his first set of patches through us. So that dates me, mid-1980s.
Who else was in? Jamie Morden. Jamie was here because Jamie's doing all the video work. Good. He's filming all the seminars. And Ollie Freak, who's done all those amazing drawings. He's around. And Craig Aspen, of Sweet Discreet, who does all of those new vinyl overlays for things like the lovely DX7.
Yep. There is such a thing.
Lots of really cool people. Yes, lots of very cool people. So we're all just getting a free beer at the moment. And
free beer is hard to argue with.
Exactly. I would take you for a trip around the hall, but this was the best place for 5G. So
it's kind of winding down. Everyone's knackered. They've all spent the whole day driving.
Yeah, well, it's been setup day. I've done enough trade shows to know what that's like.
I did try and post a video on the Facebook page of just like me wandering around what was here at the moment. So hopefully that'll get uploaded at some point. But,
well, we'll see it when we see it, but I just hope you guys are having great fun.
It's great to be in the presence of friends and synths.
Oh, yeah. NobCon in September was the same way. It's just so nice to reconnect.
Repping as
yeah. When are you guys going to get me one?
Well, postage and all that.
Well, you know what? I was supposed to order one and have it sent to Diana so that she could give it to Kim, so Kim could bring it to me at Synthplex, but it just got a little too convoluted.
Yeah. Well,
doesn't look like Kent cares.
Is Kent still alive?
He's gone.
Yeah, he's there. And I have got to do the
for the post Synthfest PCR tests and get well all. Thank you, Jake.
How do I? Oh, I can't change your camera, so I'm going to have to do this like on the fly. But for the fans of Andy Synth Addict and his carpets,
what's the carpet like?
Ooh.
And that, my friends, is the only carpet, because everything is all shiny floors.
I hope to see lots of impromptu go-lives this weekend showing us hot carpet action. Well, I don't even want to know what hot carpet action is.
Probably don't want to. So you're going to try doing the longest slide in your socks? Have a competition?
Could do that because they were buffing the floor earlier.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you gotta love that, and we'll want to see. And you know what? I'm sure you'll take that fall like a champ, and I'm sure the ambulance crews will be most appreciative.
Love it. So,
come on, Rob. Yeah, you moved. Yeah, you moved. Move a couple feet to the left or something. How about that?
Much better.
I've just got to say, Kent, you're a fucking trooper. You're an idiot, but you're a trooper.
Yeah, but we knew that.
Yeah, well, we couldn't
Thank you,
not.
Mike, for stepping in at such short notice.
No, it's fine. I'm happy to. If I had a way of starting the Streamyard myself, I would have let Ken go back to bed, and I just would have blathered at people for an hour.
There we go. But yes, plan with your deadline. So thank you for coming on.
No, listen, and it's fine. When I talked to you, I was on deadline. Now I'm on 2 deadlines. So,
Kim's side of the camera, holding up a sign saying "Your fucking work."
He is.
No, he's not.
Yeah, and well, actually, yeah, very funny. Neither of these are for Kim. Actually, I can tell you this: Bukes is currently taking a short breather and getting ramped up for our next project, which I cannot talk about yet. Okay. So Kim is leaving me alone, but I've got 4 other clients who said, "Is the damn book done?" We've got stuff piled up in the queue.
Didn't the new patch and tweak come out yesterday?
Patch and tweak with Korg.
Yeah.
We have finally gotten an agreement with Korg that because of the part shortage, they just don't know when those oscilloscopes are going to ship. So it is now possible to go to Bukes.com and buy the book by itself.
Okay. Well, I'm off to buy myself one of those selfie sticks because my arm is now absolutely killing me and I'm dropping the phone.
Yep.
So I will leave you to it, and you do a sterling job.
Beer and curry. Say hello to the gang for us, will you?
And tomorrow, do come find me.
Sorry, lost that.
I'm wherever they're giving away free shit.
Okay. All right, guys. It was wonderful to see you.
See you later. Take care, Cat. Love to feed.
Bye.
Will do. Take care, buds.
Bye. Oh, no, I don't want to end the broadcast.
No, good. No, you would not. Heart attack.
How do I do this thing? It doesn't say how I leave. Maybe I just shut the browser down. I don't know. I don't want to end the broadcast. How do I? Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've just gone vertical.
Well, it's better than Ben's horizontal right now, so
it doesn't say leave. There's no way I can't leave. You're stuck with me. I don't know.
Quit the browser and let's see what's happened. Kent started it once. He can start it again.
He can start it again. Okay. See you all soon. Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
There we go.
Yeah,
no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Yes, for those of you who are coming in late, Kent is barely sitting up from COVID. Ben is flat on his back with COVID, and I'm probably going to be doing 90% of the talking, which is, believe it or not, I'm at this point I actually get self-conscious about it.
Well, I was going to see if I can find relevant information on whatever the news topic you're going to be doing, and then see if I can get it to come up the screen in some sort of semi-professional way. Like,
why bother?
Yeah, I know.
Well, the ones I think, is we had a little thing about Synthfest, and folks who are in Sheffield are in Sheffield, and folks who aren't in Sheffield may go to Sheffield. But you just heard from Rob. It's a grand time apparently, and it's looking to be even better tomorrow. So, that's awesome. And Wagyu, oh, come on, Mike, you can talk for the Olympics. Actually, I can, but the question is whether or not I can say anything relevant that people want to hear about. Here's a question from I Sing. Are these repeat infections of COVID for the two of them?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Ken's answer. What was the question?
Yeah. Who? No, I did have COVID right at the very, very, very beginning before the first lockdown. I had it at the same time as Dave Spears, and that was the nasty one.
Yeah.
And both me and Dave, I phoned Dave at about, it must have been like 3:15 in the morning, and said, I think I'm going to die. And he's gone, I think I'm dead. We'd never felt so ill in our lives.
Oh, it's the alpha strain was horrible.
Oh man, it was bad. This is nowhere near as bad as that was. However, the headache that I've had all day is making flashy lights.
Oh God! So it's like a migraine.
It's like a migraine, and if you turn your head too quick, you fall over. It's oh man,
vertigo. Gotta love it. SEO Head says, if you can still smell smoked PCB, it's all right, Kent.
I can't smell. I had a cheese and bacon thing earlier, and it tasted like cardboard.
Yep. Sense of smell and the sense of taste go.
Yeah, so I get nice food to eat, and it all tastes like cardboard.
Well, then just, save it for later and eat cardboard.
Well, it's cheaper, isn't it? And we certainly have a lot of cardboard here.
I'd imagine. Synthetic. Feel better, Kent, Fiona, and Ben. Dr. Mike, use that gift of gab, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh God, you sound like death warmed over.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, let's run through some things here just very quickly. Cherry Audio has finally released the synthesizer that they've been hinting at, which is called Signs. I have not yet had a chance to try it. Probably for next week, Rob will have a copy and he can talk a little bit about it. So that may be one to table. In Mike we trust. Oh boy.
I do have a copy sitting here on the computer actually. And it's very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice indeed. Let's see if I can do this.
Hello to David Surchek, my neighbor from just down the street. Oh, Ben, thank you. Just start talking synth. Mike will soon be happy to voice some opinions. Well, yes, I have an opinion on everything.
Let's see what I can do. There you go.
And dangerous curves ahead. Now, okay, my first thought is that is one hell of a front panel.
It has a Korg Monopoly kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, but there's also, how do you handle some of those controls? I mean, if you don't have it on a 3920 pixel monitor, wow.
Yeah, absolute.
Yeah, it looks like a Jellinghouse DX7 programmer. I've seen those in pictures. I've never actually seen a real one.
Yes. Yeah. Should we try running up a video, see if it works?
Sure, give it a try. What the hell? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, let's see what happens with it.
Okay, couple of comments. Dr. Synth,
I couldn't make that full screen, by the way. It said it was unavailable.
No worries. I played with this for a bit last night. Pretty nice, says Dr. Synth. And more importantly, Steve Elbow says there's a focus button inside to let you zoom into one part of the UI at a time. That would probably, and Dr. Synth also mentions the zoom. The zoom mode. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I think that it certainly sounds good. I think one of the great advancements of 21st century synthesis is that there is now a whole variety of software-based ways to make FM synthesis not sound like ass.
Yeah.
I mean, a 4-op synthesizer, the best thing they ever did for a 4-op synthesizer was put it through an analog filter. So that's just me. I liked it. I think it certainly shows some promise. And as always, $39. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too keenly priced to even bother to critique too much. Just get it and enjoy it.
Get it and try it out. And the way, and for stuff at this level, I feel like what you're doing, even if you don't like the piece, what you're doing is you're really making sort of a charitable contribution to the developer. You're saying this looked like a cool idea, enough for me to pick it up and try it out and consider this a donation to keep doing more. But when it comes to Cherry Audio, I haven't run into anything yet that I don't like. So this may surprise me.
Yeah, I found it to be deliciously complex in what it can do when you want it to. As opposed to taking a VSTI that you really have to push. This requires very little in the way of pushing it to get interesting stuff going on.
What's the CPU load like?
I found it on this to be relatively low. There's no real problem with it.
Oh, wonderful.
So I was messing around with it with several other, big fat libraries running as well, and all sorts of bits and pieces going on, and it was like, yeah, fine, absolutely no problem.
David Gilden asks about the Groove Synthesis third wave. That was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, David, all of your questions and more will be answered if you go to the YouTube channel for ProSynth Network and look at program number 130.
Yeah, that's another piece of kit that's looking very interesting indeed.
I missed it, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But and David, if you were asking about my opinion, having missed the video, I know very little about it, and I am not in a position to get my hands on one. This is not the good old days. I the only time I ever get hardware sent to me now is if I'm writing a manual for it, and I can't talk about it. So there is that. It looks interesting, and I know that it's already got some proponents. Is it actually shipping?
Yeah.
All right.
People are getting them.
I just, I think the last sort of limited quantity, bespoke synth that I ever took a serious look at was John Bowen's Solaris. And that's just because he was involved in a lot of the design and UI for things like the Prophet VS. Yeah. And I have played a couple of those and really like them, but I simply don't have the dosh, as I believe you folks say, sitting around to just go out and buy one and find space for it.
Yeah.
Dr. Synth says the UPS tracking says out for delivery on my third wave, so I know what my plans are this weekend. Yeah, well, enjoy, Manny, enjoy. All right, so that's definitely something to go back and research in the last program, and yeah, I'm hoping that at Synthplex I'll be able to play one. I have no idea who's going to be there, but that's a whole other topic. I'm going to be on a panel, and I'm going to be giving a presentation, and I have absolutely no idea. There's nothing like somebody at the level of Michael Boddicker saying, "Oh, I trust you. Just come in and talk for an hour." And I'm thinking there are going to be Oscar-winning soundtrack composers and Grammy-winning, artists in the audience, and they're just going to be sitting there with their arms folded, saying, "Okay, impress me." And it's just like, yeah, just take me out back 40 and put one in my ear. Yeah. And yes, Jean-Michel Jarre will be there. And I'm hoping I'll have a chance to actually meet the guy this time, because he and Kim are not friends, but very close acquaintances, thanks to, Kim. He was really the guy that got Buke started, because he was willing to look at a proof copy of the first book and agree to write the foreword. And being able to say foreword by Jean-Michel Jarre on the front cover really, really did a lot for us. Hang on a minute. Is that a 5U or 3U panel, Mike? I have no idea what you're referring to there, Manny. I do not know. And no honorarium. Can you please talk about the process of writing the books, research, photography, etc.? Kent, do you mind letting me talk about that for about 3 minutes?
No, please, help yourself.
Basically, the way one of these books comes together is we get a concept. And then I want to be very careful not to overstate my place in the process, but as a member of the Bukes production team, I certainly have more going on in the I certainly have more going on in the production process than anybody else on the team. Kim, oh, Wagyu, you're killing me. We should do a Spong Fest in Kent's garden and get Jean-Michel Jarre to come along and perform his first 3 albums using Kent's Timberwolf. Sorry, that's just vile. But anyway, the main thing to realize is that the production of one of these books is entirely in Kim's hands. When you pick up one of these books, he's the sort of the final arbiter of what goes into the text. He writes a lot of it. All of the design, all of the artwork, all of the figures, sourcing photographs, handling licenses and clearances. He does all of that. As much as I do for these books, it's nothing compared to what Kim goes through. Absolutely nothing. For my part, I do a lot of the editing. I do, suggestions on how pages should be laid out, but ultimately Kim is the arbiter of that. He and I go through and organize what the table of contents does. Kim is an incredibly organized guy, and he's been in print media forever. So if he doesn't have a framework for how the book is going to look, he has a really hard time getting started. I can work with anything. You give me a pile of Google Docs files, and I can edit them all and then figure out how they all go together. But if Kim doesn't have a framework, because he's always thinking about design, he's lost. And the first probably 60% of any book is just figuring out what it's going to look like. And then it's just, we edit. Sometimes I have to rewrite stuff. Sometimes I have to rewrite a lot of stuff. Sometimes I rewrite almost the majority, the entire book. I didn't say that. And then, we bring Diana in, and she goes over it with a white glove a couple of times to make sure that we don't have any egregious mistakes. And then it's off to the printer. The main thing about these books that's different than everybody else's is just that they start design first. Everybody else writes a manuscript, and then they figure out what it's going to look like. We figure out what the book is going to look like, and then we write the manuscript to go with it. That's what makes us different. The art and the concept come first. Beep, done. Oh, and Manny, Mike, you said they asked you to be on a panel at Synthplex. Mike, geez, keep up. I'm trying to keep up, and I am going to be on a panel. It's called How to Get the Most Out of Music Journalists. And I think that's silly, because everybody knows that to get the best out of music journalists, you have to hang them out in the sun for a few days so they don't taste gamey. You're welcome, Matt. Oh, God. UVI releases Falcon 2.8. I know nothing about the new feature set, but Falcon is awesome. So go out and check it out. That was easy. Contact 7 is made by Native Instruments. Therefore, I have nothing to say about it because I do not use Native Instruments.
I'm using Contact 7, and it's delicious.
Oh, it is? What have they added? What's new and exciting?
Well, now you can add unsupported libraries to it and access everything from just the one window now. So, amongst other things.
That's I know that they've always been tops for things like articulations and so forth, but I'm just, it's never been my platform. We talked a few weeks ago about how there are other ways you can do this stuff, but I'm never going to tell anybody that the full version of Contact is not a fantastic digital sampler. If there's anything else to say about it, now's the time, Kent, because I have nothing to contribute.
I'm just trying to remember anything else about it, to be honest. Everything's a little bit woolly. I know that it's a much easier player to use now.
Easier? Easier is good. We like easier.
Yeah, there's not so much of the running around that you used to have to do, and also now if you select a library, it lists all the individual patches that are in that library, whether it's a BST or whether it's a large sample library, and then you can audition any sound you want without having to load the instrument in first.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Which
so it grabs
hours.
it just gives you a little snippet.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm digging that. I will always be in favor of anything that makes the user experience easier. I don't remember who said it in chat, but somebody said basically, the more options I have, the harder a time I have. And there's definitely something to that. So anything that simplifies, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, do not make Kent laugh. We don't want to see his lungs live on air.
Yeah.
Why?
What's wrong with my lungs?
Well, aside from the fact that they've joined the enemy.
Yeah. He's insinuating my lungs are not attractive. How dare he?
Yeah, I know. Oh, here's an interesting question before we get on to our next item. What is everyone's favorite hardware synth currently? I'm in a long honeymoon phase, gushing over the Korg ARP 2600M. Still a Soma fanboy, but expanding my horizons. I have to say, one of the few downsides about working on the Korg book, Korg was extraordinarily kind with the gear that they loaned me, so that I could create some of the sample patches and so on. And it all went back. I wasn't able to keep it. The one that I would have wanted to buy and keep was the 2600M, and guess which one they didn't send me?
That's the way it works.
Well, I know, but I have to say, I'm not usually a 2600 guy. I was not trained on one. They had one in the studios at the universities where I got started back in the 70s, but I was always a Moog and Buchla guy. And I didn't really get into a studio properly with a 2600 until 1995, and was quite amazed at what the guy I was working with was doing with it. So I would have loved to have a 2600M to mess with.
Yeah. Mind you, nothing beats an original.
Mm-hmm.
An original tonus.
So have you ever worked on a blue meanie or a gray meanie?
Yeah. I got a gray Marvin, whatever they call them now, out in the garage. Abandoned. Yeah.
Okay, well, next time I come out there, can I get it off your hands?
It looks like a Buick backed over it.
I'll still take it, just to have just to have in the background. Yeah. A smashed gray meanie. I mean, come on, that's so me, Kent. For a long time I had a Eurorack case that had nothing in it. I was using it as a pencil holder, and I would regularly post pictures on the Eurorack forums until finally the moderator just said, "Look, it's not funny anymore. We know you don't do Eurorack." But so a smashed 2600, I'll happily take that off your hands.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the tonus is very much the one that everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
The G-clef ones, which are the later ones, they also came in weirdly 2 sizes.
Yeah.
One was like, I think it was about half an inch or an inch thinner. So you needed a different case, and it caused havoc with the silk screening process.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, because nothing was like matching up.
Yeah. By the way, I sing the body electric. It was the original run of 2600s were called the Blue Marvin, after somebody who was working at ARP at the time. And Blue Meanie was pretty obvious after that, and then Meanie stuck and Marvin didn't. So you've got the Blue Meanie or Blue Marvin, and then you've got the Gray Meanie. Yeah. So there. Consider yourself educated.
Mostly because of Yellow Submarine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to hear about Blue Meanies?
Exactly. Hello, Max. Yes, I've worked on.
Yes, you're a blueness.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't make you laugh. No, you're blueness.
I just wore myself out. Hello, Glove.
My little glove.
No, working on Blue Marvins, Blue Meanies. Yeah, I prefer working on G-clefs, I must admit. They are a little bit better put together.
Well, the early stuff is always a little bit ragged in that regard.
Yeah.
Wagyu says, was it a colorblind fan of Marvin the Martian? Oh, these computers are so naughty and so complex. I could just pinch them. Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm going to kill the man. I'm worried that the cardboard Hans Zimmer might catch COVID unless he puts on a mask.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll have to put a mask on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pull up
Gray Marvin. It has a pain in all the diodes down his left side.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Brain the size of a planet.
I think, sorry. Don't get me going. Anyway, so yeah, I just, a lot of people have mentioned some other stuff while we've been hanging about on the 2600. Somebody was talking about the Nix 2, and the let me see now. Wagyu is using the emulator too, which they're amazing instruments, but the hoops you had to jump through to use them, live. Yeah. I guess it was one of the tours that Rush did where Geddy Lee had a controller on stage running to a rack of emulator 2s and he had a tech who was doing nothing but swapping floppies all night.
Job satisfaction.
Well, there is that. And who else? What other people have been? Dreadbox Nix 2 seems to be getting the most use currently, says Corrosive Abuser. I don't know very much about that particular model. Dreadbox produces some pretty interesting stuff. But who else? What else has people mentioned? Perhaps Kent could do one of those crazy welded sculptures out of all those expensive dead synths.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think what I could make out of it. Full-size Star Destroyer, that would be worth it.
I find your lack of diodes disturbing.
You may fire when ready.
Oh, God.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, here we go. The Mike Oldfield Discovery Tour had one guy on stage who was pretty much just swapping Fairlight floppies and loading new sequences. Wow. Yes, after 2 years, the Hydrasynth still surprises. And I'm actually 2 years behind on my Hydrasynth because I've been so damn busy I haven't had a chance to just sit down and play it. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I'm not buying much in the way of new gear because I just don't have time.
Yeah. I think I'll use some of my isolation time to actually sit down and learn how to use this MPCX. Finally.
Well, the nice thing about that, of course, is you can put it on a tray table and play it in bed.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you do that with a CS80.
No. Done it with a Kurzweil K2700, but not an 80. No.
No. You need your legs.
Yeah. That will not be good.
Any joy with the Rolly, Kent?
No, I'm still waiting for a verification number. So my Rolly Grand sits behind me, looking very forlorn. Still waiting.
Oh, which serial number do you have?
That's the thing. No serial number on.
I know. It's a note, right?
It's just like that's handy.
Yeah, they only made 88 of them. And
it's weird, isn't it? I mean, I can't register it without the registration number. And they said, but I still need the serial. I said, well, I haven't got the serial. And they go, well, you still need the serial. And I go, this is going around in circles.
Welcome to Rolly.
Yeah.
They are just, I don't even know what to say. They've never been good at customer service. And that was one of their downfalls because when they started running into issues with, various bits and pieces that weren't working right, it was just really hard to get support. Yeah. I got an email back from their head of software when I was complaining about something or another, and he just basically says, well, it's obvious you're using it wrong. And whatever. No, it was, I actually sent a Rolly piece to a friend of mine. I was having trouble getting it to do the most basic things. It's supposed to be programmable. And he got it. And he said, he codes for a living, so it can't be that hard, right? So about once a month, I would get a note like, it was like, yeah, I'm just getting settled down with it. Slow start, and it's got some issues. And then the next one was, this thing's really just, I'm running into a bunch of, next month, I'm going to have to rewrite the operating system from scratch. And then the next month, take it back, please. Just take it back. God.
Yeah.
So, Roland Lamb had really strong ambitions. And some of the tech he created was pretty amazing. But at some point or another, you need to have an infrastructure that can follow up properly on what you've done. Yeah. And I think that if Rolly fell down anywhere, that was probably it. It was just too hard to get help when something didn't work.
Yeah, well, I mean, just even trying to get a ticket started on their website.
Well, are they even called Rolly anymore?
Yeah. They're still called Rolly.
I thought they'd changed their name to Lumen or something.
Oh,
but...
yeah. Only in terms of the registering of the company, I believe. The Rolly moniker persists. So.
Okay. Well, and I have a lot of friends. I have who use the stuff and just swear by it. But my own personal experience has just been miserable. I have no Rolly in this studio anymore.
Yeah, well, I have mixed experience. One of them I swear by, the other one I swear at.
Yeah, fair.
That's
fair.
a choice, and it just depends.
Yep. Wagyu says maybe Kent can stream from bed and call the show MPCX rated.
Yeah, I'll have to get me tie dressing gown on.
Oh dear.
Yeah, get me a little white number.
Sweet, third wave delivered. Unfortunately, I still have 5 hours of work. Dude, you'll survive.
Yeah, but it's 5 hours. I don't know. I think it'd be waning after about 3. And then just pack it. It's Friday. Just pack it all up and go home.
Yeah, don't I wish. Wagyu, I sold my Rolly Rise 49 when I ordered my Osmos 3 years ago.
Oops.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, mine, I don't know when mine's ever going to get here, but the fact that they're shipping them now is kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm hearing mid-November.
For in quantity.
Yeah.
And that's for the first round. Those are the people who did the super duper discount. I'm in the second round, which is only the duper discount, not the super duper discount.
My Rise 2 is, I think I'm in second batch, so I'm getting mine end of October.
Well, you'll have to let us know how it works.
Apparently.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What other things are going to get announced. Some people tend to keep that stuff close to the vest. Other people like to sort of string it out. Alesis got a lot when the ADAT came out for the first time. Alesis got a lot of grief because they showed a non-working prototype 2 years before they shipped the darn thing, and they basically chilled the market. Everybody was waiting for the ADAT. Yeah. And it was PreSonus with their first FireWire interface, where they shocked the world because they showed up at the NAMM show and they demonstrated it, and they said, NAMM no longer stands for not available, maybe may. We have them in stock. We're shipping them today. And everybody was like, wait, what? And not enough people are doing it. Mike, your favorite synth ever and why? Matt, I have no answer for that because my favorite synth changes over the years. I lived with an Oberheim expander for 34 years. I ran a newsletter on it, and for a long time it defined my music. Don't have it anymore. That's the one that leaps out, but that's mainly just because I had it for so long. But I don't really have favorite synths.
Does anybody really have a favorite synth? Surely
yeah.
You have a favorite synth at a time. Or during the course of your life, you'll have one that you really, really love over another, and then something else will come along, or you go back.
Yeah, but I think that there are a few people who've sort of made their living on like one synth. I mean, let's face it, I would love to figure out just how much of Vangelis's recorded output was done just with a CS80.
Well, several CS80s.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but there's a bit of E2, System 100.
Yeah,
Odyssey. You know, like everybody, always got to mix and match.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, my favorite example of somebody who just dug in and had a setup that just plain worked and that he used, you know, forever was Eddie Jobson. You know, he had the Mini Moog, he had the CS80, he had a grand piano, and he had his violin, and that was his whole an outboard analog sequencer, and that was his whole rig. That was everything. He did all the UK albums with that. He did the stuff with Jethro Tull with that. He did his solo album with that, you know, and then, you know, he got a synclavier and he fell down the rabbit hole and we never saw him again. Oh, hi Eric. Nice to see you. I'm pretty sure Boborg is the only Frank Ellis album that just used the CS80. Native VS, I'm betting you're using Siri right now. Frank Ellis. Wagyu, Lord Synthesizer Skywave is my favorite synth after reading Synth Gems 1. Well, certainly one of the prettiest, but you want to get online on YouTube, Wagyu, and find one of the rare videos that actually shows what one sounds like. It's a mono synth and it's got some interesting features, but it didn't set the world on fire. I sing the Body Electric. How about framing it as a desert island synth or the one you'd save from a house fire if you had to choose? Well, for many years that was my expander. My rule was always save the kids, save the wife, save Betty, my Schecter, and then save the expander. You know, but now I'm not sure. Now I'd be more concerned about saving my backup archives of all my data and grabbing a few of my iPads, because, you know, it's not that expensive to replace a Hydrasynth, which is the only really heavy thing I still have. You know, machines are just not worth your life, right? The whole burning house thing bothers me, but I'd have to say that if I was stuck on a desert island and somehow had the ability to run one synthesizer with a pair of headphones, I'd take the opportunity to get into the Hydra. I really would, because I just need that time.
Yeah. I think I'd save the Oasis.
Well, they're really hard to replace. Yeah. Just be sure you don't throw your back out trying to run with it.
The 76s aren't too bad. The 88s are bloody awful.
Which do you have? You have a 76?
I have a 76, yeah.
And that is my alarm saying, guess what? You should get back to work. Guess what? No, I'm having fun. Do we have any other news things before we just kind of, you know, drop dead on this? What did I do with that list? Here we go. What do we have here? Oh, Slate Digital has become part of the Audiotonics group, which includes a whole bunch of other companies like what do we got here? Digico, Digigrid, Calrec, Allen and Heath, Group One, Clang Technologies, Solid State Logic, and Sound Devices, which I find a very interesting mix because almost all of those companies do really, really high-end stuff.
Yeah.
You know, well, I mean, some of them reach down market. You know, you can get a pretty cheap Allen and Heath board, but, you know, Sound Devices is like the, you know, field recorders and USB interfaces that are designed to, you know, survive World War III, and incredible quality. And I love Digico mixers. Did a bunch of festivals with them and they're just extraordinary. But Slate Digital, Slate is interesting. They're a very interesting company. They always have been. Stephen Slate is an incredibly dynamic individual. He has a very forceful personality. He's got a lot of charisma and a lot of these very good technical ideas. have actually been rammed through sheerly on the force of his belief that they can be done. And so he did Slate Pro Audio. He had some really nice, rack mount gear like the Dragon and the Fox. And then, he got started with the Stephen Slate libraries of drums, which were considered, among the very best for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he got into Slate Digital and he started doing these plugins. And the genius behind that, by the way, is a young man from France named Fabrice Gabriel, who ran a little software company that he still keeps on the side called Eosis, which was where he would do all of his ideas that were too weird for Stephen. And Fab is a beautiful human being. I really, really like him. So I'm hoping that they do better in this group of companies than, I don't know, Midas, Clark Technic, TC Electronic, or for that matter, Akai, Alesis, M Audio. Anyway, Roy, thank you for the donation. It's very much appreciated. And PreSonus just released Studio One 6. Has this been commented on? I have to say that I've been away from Studio One long enough to not know that they released 5. Well, it's a very nice DAW. It really is. It's streamlined. It works well. The UI is pretty easy to get around, but I was used to a different workflow and just never got my head around it. The one thing about it was it had a very intelligently tabbed interface, so that if you were running it on a really small laptop, you could still get a lot done.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't think I've ever used it.
Oh, it's nice. It's the main thing about it is, it was created by the people who invented Cubase. They had left Steinberg because, the rumor, and I'm pointing this out right now, this is a rumor, I have never had this substantiated, is that the coding team had said to Steinberg that the software had simply gotten too bloated, and the best way to streamline it would be to go all the way back down to the root code base and rewrite it. And there was no way Steinberg was having that, because they stood the chance of, bugs and system failures taking out their entire user community.
Yeah.
And so the team just elected to go make their own, and they convinced PreSonus to pick it up. That's just sort of, it is what it is. It's an interesting thing because of the marketing as much as anything else. If you buy a PreSonus audio interface, they give you a copy of the less feature laden one for free.
Yeah.
So you can get used to the workflow. And everybody was saying they were the first people to ever do that. Well, that's a lie. Every single Motu interface comes with a copy of, God, I don't remember the name of it, but it is essentially Digital Performer with no MIDI. It's this gigantic audio only DAW, and it is free of charge when you buy one of their interfaces, and it's pretty damn extraordinary. ProSynth Network. Have you ever heard of or tried the Synth? No, I have. I know what it is, and I would dearly love to try one. I think Stefan Hainbach got his hands on one and did a video about it. Really, really cool little machine. Easiest way to describe it is that it's 3 monophonic synth voices in a little rack, and it has a 3 manual pressure sensitive keyboard, 1 to play each voice, or something along those lines. Don't quote me. Never quote me. Just never.
Whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Native VS says, I believe their motivation was mainly disagreeing about how the user interface should be rather than the actual engine. That is quite possible. That is only the hearsay I have from a GUI developer at Steinberg. Well, that's better than the hearsay I have. My contacts at Steinberg are minimal. Hang on a second. We covered that. The only thing we did not cover is this thing called the Sistema from GUK.ai. Guck. Reinventing the synthesis. Sistema is the first AI-powered software instrument that helps you easily create new textures and sounds for your music. Choose category and desired character of sound. Let Sistema create the sound for you. Hit the button till you like the result. Make the generated sound completely yours by tweaking built-in macro parameters. Save your favorite sound and enjoy. And it looks extremely simple. It looks kind of like the user interface of Labs. And they have a button where you can try it for free. But if you and this is interesting. It's got 3 levels of subscriptions. You can get it for free, and there are 50 unique sounds. You can generate 50 unique sounds per month with cloud storage. All generated sounds are guaranteed 100% royalty free. You have email, developer support, and instant access to all future updates. The bedroom subscription is $10 a month, where you're allowed to create 2,000 sounds. And it sends premium sample packs, MIDI and WAV files sent every quarter. And then the Pro for $30 a month lets you generate unlimited sounds. You get premium sample packs every month, and you have live chat for developer support. So, and they've got an FAQ. So that's guk.ai. I don't know where these people are located. I know nothing about them at all. Oh, it says made with love in Amsterdam. So there you go. Yeah, they're in Amsterdam, I guess. Hi, Cresshead. You've been missing one of the weirdest ProSynth Network programs ever. Yeah. And it's about to get weirder because we just finished up the news items. Yeah. Turning that off. And so, yeah, what's next? And we did it in an hour. How about that? Ian J. Cole, sorry, you got the Rona, Kent. It's been a good one so far, Mike. Matt, you are always very kind. You are always so very kind, and it's very, very much appreciated. You two are a couple of troopers. I'm not a trooper. He's sick. I'm just distracted. I'm working on a product manual that I really need to. I'll be working on it. Screw it. I'll be working on it for the next 11 hours after this program is over. So, wow. Oh, ProSynth Network. When and how can we get a hold of the new Roland book, Mike? Go to Bukes.com. It's on sale. We're taking pre-orders. The book is off the press and it's at the distribution center. I believe the ones for Europe have already arrived in Germany. So people should be seeing any copies they pre-ordered, especially in Europe, before too long in November, if not earlier. And I think that we're going to have some available for U.S. buyers soon and larger quantities coming just a little bit later. Dr. Dieter Volka, more news. Component shortage still as bad as previously. Yeah, I think we've kind of figured that out.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Across the board.
It's getting to be a nightmare. I mean, Korg really did not want their book to go out without the NTS2, but it's just, it's impossible. I had to ship my stuff, a lot of the stuff that I got for the book back to them simply because they didn't have inventory. It's getting nuts. We're starting to lose companies. Companies are dying.
Yeah, in other news, Behringer Synth still not out.
Yeah, well, just repeat the mantra. As soon as we have chips. As soon as we have chips. As soon as we have chips.
Wow.
On Monday, we'll be waiting 8 weeks for my OP6 parts.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a tough time. This is a tough time.
Oh.
I sing. More news. FM's still kind of unintuitive. Oh, dear. Oh, man. Oh, God. Sorry. Korg still don't have the NTS2 here in the UK. I'm expecting next year. Ian, Korg doesn't have the NTS2 anywhere. The only one I'm aware of that's in the wild outside of Japan is Kim's, because he helped design the damn thing. Oh, wait a minute. You should see the embedded scene. Loads of companies going out of business. Yep, I bet. David Gilden asks, comments on Madrona Labs Alto.
Who?
I'll answer that question. But first of all, Roy, I forgot what Dr. Mike said. Everybody does. The URL for the book I will put in chat, but it's basically bukes.com. Oh, for heaven's sake. I just chatted privately to Kent in StreamYard, bukes.com.
Yay. Oh, hello, my love. You're right.
Oh, Daddy's hurting. Let me make Daddy feel better.
This dog has been sleeping on my head since last night.
Just wants to make sure you're okay, and he's enjoying the warmth from if you're running a fever.
Yeah.
And Alto, AALTO by Madrona Labs, is a software synthesizer.
Okay.
And it is a very interesting synthesizer. It has a very unusual signal flow design, and the UI it takes a little bit to get used to, but once you do, it's quite intuitive. You have audio components along the top third of the screen and control components along the bottom third, and then you string patch cables in between them. So it's pretty easy to sort of see your way around. It does some pretty extraordinary sounds. It's very inexpensive. And Madrona Labs is run by a fellow by the name of Randy Jones. Randy and I got back into contact with one another when Alto came out. After not having spoken to each other for almost 50 years. I actually knew him when he was in high school because we used to play Dungeons and Dragons together. And then, 40 odd years later, he's like, "Hey, Mike, remember me?" I'm like, "Actually, I do." He's like, "I'm doing software synths now." And I'm like, "Well, that's cooler than Dungeons and Dragons." Synth Addict asks anyway, by the way, madronalabs.com they've got two synths called Kaivo and Alto, and a plugin called Verta, and they're not very expensive. Tech support is phenomenal. They're really weird. They're really, really weird, but they're fun. Hang on a moment. Synth Addict, what is your opinion or experience regarding the Kima Capybara and similar products? These days it's really hard to justify the Capybara. Back in the days when, PCs and Macs could only handle MIDI, having this gigantic rack full of DSP cards made a lot of sense. I'm blank. Carla Scaletti, the lady who ran Symbolic Sound, was and is a genius. The Capybara is an extraordinary machine, and the Kima language for programming it was one of the earliest sort of graphic draw lines between blocks kinds of things. But it could do some really, really amazing stuff. I worked with a fellow who had one, and some of the sounds it created were incredible. On the other hand, as he once told me, he said, "If you decide you want something on the Capybara, let me know a couple of days before you show up for the session, because otherwise it ain't happening." Because doing this stuff took a lot of work and a lot of time. Very powerful. Yes, they have released a new version. I don't remember what the name of it is, and I don't know how they're staying in business. I honestly don't, because these engines can't be any faster than what you can get in an M1. And I think, is that the second joke I got about being Sheldon Cooper? I'll take being Sheldon Cooper. The one that got me is I have to keep telling people that David A. Goodman, the showrunner for Family Guy, did not come on during the first season. So the character of Stewie Griffin had already been created before David, who is my cousin, took over the show. Because everybody's like, "Did David base Stewie Griffin on you?" And no, he did not. It's no. So anyway. Oh dear. Other questions? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody?
Yeah, Bueller.
Anyone? Bueller? Anything at all? I may have missed one. The Pacorana. That was the new one that replaced the Capybara. And Wagyu says, nearest I came was looking at a used one, looked at the community, and it looks somewhat impenetrable. You can leave out the word somewhat. Dr. Synth, African or European? Watch him get thrown over the cliff. What time is Matt Evans getting to Synthfest? I have no idea. David says he has a PPG question. Where's the virtual waveterm plugin? I have no idea if anyone is even interested in making a virtual waveterm plugin, David. The waveterm did an important job at the time, and a lot of albums came out using it. But honestly, I sort of put the virtual waveterm in the same category as a virtual Fairlight. There are just so many better ways to do this stuff. Here's favorite movies, Kent and Mike.
Oh God, I haven't got a favorite movie.
Mine, I love anything with explosions and CGI, but I also I've got some really ancient favorites. I love Seven Samurai. I love Tampopo. I can watch Ralph Bakshi's Wizards over and over and over and over again. I probably think of a couple of others. Fury, the World War II movie that came out some years ago. And I could probably think of some others.
Forbidden Planet.
Oh, Forbidden Planet is wonderful.
Dark Star.
Dark Star. Now it's time to go sleepy by, you worthless piece of garbage.
Yep. Yeah. There's a common motif appearing here, but yeah. But anything with Margaret Rutherford in it.
Anything with almost anything with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
Because he just picks. He hasn't had many turkey movies since he got a little older. Yes, I sing. The Argument with the Bomb. Oh, I do love both Blade Runner movies. I think they're iconic.
Was it? No, I don't watch only films with Hans Zimmer soundtracks.
No.
I'm a fan of David Arnold, Clint Mansell, Morricone.
Morricone.
Baby. Yeah. You name it.
Brad Fiedel.
Barry. It goes on.
John Barry. Etc. And we've got a really good bunch of new soundtrack people coming up. The guy I'm blanking on his name starts with a W, who worked with Zimmer on 2049, was incredibly good. Trevor Rabin has done soundtracks, and every once in a while you get some weird soundtrack that's done by somebody who's never done soundtracks in his life. Like there's one of the Death Wish movies has a Jimmy Page soundtrack, and it's like, what?
I'm rather partial to everything that there's a company in I think they're in LA called Two Steps from Hell, who they normally do things like promos, but they also kick out some other stuff every now and again. They do tracks for soundtracks for computer games and all sorts of stuff, and they write some really, really great stuff.
Yeah, I'm still in mourning for Mark Shreve. His albums were often very over the top, but the library music he did, I don't know how I ever managed to score all 5 of his library CDs, because they're not supposed to be available to private buyers. But I just adore his music, the stuff that they did. I think he'd rather forget his Beastie Boys style rap music video for Dragnet. Yes, well, there is that. But then again, he was trying to do comedy opposite Dan Aykroyd, and that never works.
Yeah.
Ben Wallfish. Thank you, Ben. Much appreciated. Benjamin Wallfish. And then, of course, you've got Olafur Arnolds. There's just so much good stuff out there.
Yeah. There's James Horner.
James Horner, yes. Other questions?
Trumpet through a tape echo.
Trumpet through a tape echo. Yeah. Trumpet and trombone. You got what's his name? John Hassel, who took the trumpet in all kinds of bizarre directions. Mark Isham. Yeah. He was great. Wagyu, didn't Ben Wallfish do the Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack while Hans watched? I think Hans did more than just watch, but Wallfish generally really does deserve credit for the lion's share, I think, of what went on. Yeah. What's your favorite FX pedal for synths? Well, that depends on what weaknesses the synth has. I only put FX pedals on synths that are missing shit. For instance, there's a little tiny company in, I think, Alabama, and I'm blanking on the name, but this guy hand makes, with using point-to-point wiring on, what do they call the paper that you can you just punch the connections through it and then solder them in the back? I don't remember, but he does these point-to-point wired pedals that are preamps and tremolos and these really ancient kinds of devices and circuits. And he makes a dual gain boost, clean gain boost pedal called the tall, fat, and wide. And the mono one is the tall and fat. And anytime I play anything Korg, I have to put that on the outputs, because Korg never gives you enough gain on their outputs. Like ever. So that may or may not have answered your question.
I think with me it was back in the day, and it was just because, like you say, there's something missing. You want to give it another, a bit more color.
Yeah, tall, fat Lounsbury pedals. Greg Lounsbury. Just do a Google search on tall, fat, and wide, and you'll find it. Really good stuff. He actually designs pedals for keyboards. So he has a preamp, an overdrive pedal for the Hammond B3 that is absolutely amazing. It's called the Organ Grinder, and so on. You'd need an Alien style power loader to wield the CS80 as a keytar. I don't even want to think about what would happen if you turned a CS80 over to play it as a keytar. Just
well, it would stop working mostly.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's asking about whether there's a pedal called horse meat, and the answer is no, probably not. I think we'll leave that to Paul Reed Smith. Nobody remembers Jason Lamb. He was a pedal designer in the 90s that DoD hired, and he was the guy who is credited with giving knobs on pedals stupid names. So like the grunge pedal, the four knobs were RIP, Guts, Pain, and Scream. The milk box had quartz, pasteurization, and spill. Just and you had no idea what any of it did. But thank God most of that has gone away. Most of that.
It'd be more fun if it was something like Colin, Persephone, and Regret. It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. The book Pedal Crush, Bukes has a bunch of just stupidly named pedals. It's glorious. Like the Marshmallow, which is an artificial sweetener pedal.
What was the ones sort of like early 2000s? I forgot. They had pedals like the butt plug and
Metasonics.
Metasonics. Yeah.
Oh, he's still out there.
Yeah.
He's still out there. Oh yeah, Eric Barber. My God, yes. He's doing all Eurorack modules now, but he did an all handmade, hand wired, extraordinarily high gain bespoke guitar amplifier called the GT 1000 fucking fucker. I don't know how many he sold. But he did, and it wasn't the butt plug, it was the butt probe. And
okay.
his advertising and graphics were incredibly offensive. And if you ever meet Eric, he's just the nicest guy.
No, I had a Wretch.
Yep, the Wretch machine.
Yeah, it was just mental.
Yeah, his stuff was always
just nuts. Absolutely bizarre. You just didn't know what it was going to do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There was the one of the U.S. distributors for Analog Solutions here in the States is a store in California called Big City Music.
Yeah.
And Metasonics would come to the NAMM show and have a little display at the Big City Music booth, and Eric was there with it, and he's just the nicest guy. And it's like, well, swear words and things like horsecock and butt plug and God knows what all else. And he said, well, you gotta get people's attention.
Yeah.
And and it doesn't matter how good the sound is if you can't get people's.
We were UK distributor for him. Well, RL was UK distributor for him for a little while.
Yep.
While it was still viable having stuff shipped over.
Yep. And
which it isn't now, is it?
Yeah. Well. More old news. You can get a custom pressed edible chocolate record to play on your vinyl player and then eat.
When I play it, just eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't mess with your chocolate. Just get on with it.
Just get on.
Consume.
Yeah, waste of good chocolate, and I might add, waste of a good phonograph needle. And what else? Brooksy would have a fit trying to work out what Mike is talking about. And yes, somebody mentioned that you can't show that guitar amps graphics where he is, because yes, the graphics for the all of his pedals are obscene, just absolutely obscene. The other one I forgot was it the Flagellator? There was the Flagellator and there was the Ass Blaster.
Yeah.
He was like that. And the front cover graphics, most of the front cover graphics was done by a fellow by the name of Dave Lovelace. Yeah. He's done a lot of Flash videos and cartoons. He has a really, really sick sense of humor, and he is a huge synth fanatic, and a very good player. He, for those of you who are in the United States who read Keyboard Magazine, he briefly did a monthly comic called The Pack Rat, which was
I remember Pack Rat.
Yep, and great fun. Some of the jokes in there only we would get. Pax, you look terrible. What's the matter? I just passed up a deal of $500 for a Juno 6. The parts are worth twice that. There was a big scratch through the Roland logo. Oh yeah, man, that's bad juju. My car's still there. I ran all the way home. Yeah, and I actually have a sketch that Dave did me of Pack Rat right in the middle of the keyboard run. I got a sketch from Dave with Pack Rat wearing a recording T-shirt.
What was that? What did I see there? Put this up. What did that say?
Can I ask Ken a question about worst case scenarios in reference to old codger synths like the JP8, Memory Moog, P5, and also any old sod that has a battery that he has he ever encountered ones that were unrepairable due to leaks damaging PCBs?
Yes.
Yeah, that was easy.
Mostly Poly 6s.
Were the batteries soldered in there?
Yeah.
Why would anybody do that?
I didn't like longevity.
Oh, I mean, just how hard does it be to solder in a metal clip, for God's sake?
Mate, it's just ridiculous. The thing about the Poly6 board was there's so many, where the battery sits, there are so many via holes that go to the tracks the other side. And, and it just eats them away. And you can be there forever trying to get,
Yeah, and repairing vias. Oh my God!
Oh, you tell me about it. Well, the thing is that the solder doesn't want to stick to the board once the battery has been all over it anyway. So you have to clean the board.
Yeah, never mind.
And now, obviously, what we do, they go, just come get a Kiwi board for it, mate. It's just, and this is a frisbee. It's much
I've never
better.
actually worked. I've seen a few machines with Kiwis, but I've never actually played one.
I think it gives you MIDI.
Well, it depends.
And a few bits and pieces, but it doesn't change the machine that much in terms of. There's a couple of little silly little things on it that you can do.
Well, I know that some of these boards will do things like put in a sustain pedal jack and give you more onboard memories and things like that. Yeah. But I guess it depends on which is which. The closest I ever got to doing one of those daughter boards was putting one on my DW8000 because it had some issues that could have been fixed. And Paul Artola says Kiwi 3P and 8P here. Love them. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Our chromas have stored in the wrong direction.
Yes. If you store it highest key to the floor, if the battery leaks, it won't damage it. But if you do it lowest key to the floor, it'll wreck the CPU board.
Great.
Essentially.
Pete Greenwood, I'd love a chroma, but I guess they're crazy money these days. Pete Greenwood, why would you love a chroma? They were incredibly important historic synthesizers, but they were buggy, and the membrane keyboards failed.
Yeah,
and these days they were historic, but these days you could do better. The one thing it had that was really nice was the keyboard action.
Yeah.
Which I guess Synclavier used it for theirs.
And they had that very, very strange power supply where if the 5-volt would sink and prevent the computer from firing up because it was too far away. It was nearly 2 foot away from the power supply. It was like, no, it's too far.
Yeah, the power I talked when I wrote the book. I talked to some of the Chroma team, and they said that far and away the biggest problem was those power supplies.
Yeah. The CC++ for the Chromas, they're not making them. That's the downer. Found that out the hard way because I've got a Chroma in the workshop and it needs a new computer in it. And they went, no.
Oh, damn it.
So
Kent, do you get many K250s through the shop?
No.
I have a K250 story.
Go on.
1983, first ones came out. I was in New York to see Laurie Anderson do United States live. Yes, I was there. And did not realize how historic that performance was going to be. It was weird, but anyway, I had some free time, and I went to 48th Street and I walked into, was it Manny's or Sam Ash? It was Manny's, I think, and they had a K250 on display in the back on a platform. And this was my first experience with a New York City music store. I walked up and looked at the front panel and poked at it. And one of the salespeople said, "Get the blank away from that." So phenomenal sales acumen there. Anyway, so I then walked over with my girlfriend to where they had an OB8 on display, and I was showing her how it worked. She didn't know anything about subtractive synthesis. And so I'm, saying, well, this is the filter which controls the tonality, and over here are the oscillators. And all of a sudden, I realize there's somebody standing right behind me, and I look over my shoulder, and it's Paul Schaefer.
Oh,
who played an OB8 for David Letterman for God knows how many decades. And I recognized him instantly. And I said, have I gotten anything wrong yet? And he said, oh, no, you're doing great. Turned around and went back to it. Now, of course, I'm talking like this. But,
lovely.
Yeah, all of 20 something. And it was just like, oh, I'm demonstrating Paul Schaefer's favorite synthesizer in front of Paul Schaefer. It's time to go.
No, that's pretty sweet.
I got to see Bob Moog thanks to Kurzweil and the K250. I got to know Bob Moog, not very well.
I never got to know Bob, and it's just annoying that I never got to meet him.
I didn't know him well. We had a lot of mutual friends, and I've had a couple of really good conversations with him, but I wouldn't call him a friend myself. But he was a very, very interesting guy. And I am sorry that I didn't know him better. That OB8 is the reason why David Letterman was on the air for 30 years. That is quite possible.
No, I would have loved to have met him, shake his hand.
I've met his son, Worf. He was an interesting guy. Jay Vaughn, one of our writers at the magazine, gave me a memory of Bob when I wrote his obituary. The last time he saw Bob alive was at Frankfurt Music Messe a couple of months before the cancer got him. And he was sitting alone in the booth before the show began early in the morning, and he was just tweaking a trim pot on a Voyager. And Jay said to himself, he's enjoying one of his rare bits of quiet time playing with one of his instruments. I'll just leave him alone. I won't say hi because there will be other opportunities. And well, there you go. Here's a good question. Hans Zimmer was interviewed on BBC Radio today because he's in the UK. Is he coming to see his cardboard cutout, Kent?
He is threatening to come on PSN still. He said yes. It just doesn't know when exactly he can make it. But
are we allowed to actually mention that now? Because when you guys I know that it has been mentioned, but when you guys first started on the process, you told me to keep my lips zipped about it. Yeah,
because there was no I will do it at that point. But now there is. We just don't know.
Yeah. How awesome would it be if Kent's next Spongcast had Hans actually standing there instead?
Yeah.
Have him come in the jacket and the scarf and tie and, just stand in the background and really still in the room on one show and not talk.
Yeah, who you say? No, just pretend to be the cardboard cutout. And then suddenly, front of life at everybody. Robbie's at least in chat. Good curry? Oh, God.
Still waiting. Oh, there you go. Stand behind the cardboard cutout and then pop out.
What are they doing? Chasing the chicken around the kitchen or something?
Oh, dear. Yeah. Weeping Angel Hans Zimmer. Hans filling in for Kent while recuperating and scaring the crap out of Fiona. Kent plays something, then Hans steps forward and says, no, not like that. At this rate, we're going to get back to Kent Spong jokes.
Oh, God.
I'm hoping I never offended you with those Kent Spong jokes. I was really fond of those Kent Spong jokes.
Oh, God, I don't get offended at anything.
Well, I just, I wish you were more famous in LA, Kent, because I'd make a poster of them and hang them in the Bukes booth at Synthplex.
Yeah, well, I've told Hans to get a cardboard cut out of me to put in his studio.
I'd pay money to see that.
Yeah, I would too. But I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't either, actually. Oh dear. Oh God. Come on, folks. Any other questions? Kent has managed to hold body and soul together for an hour and a half. I don't think we need to go the full 2 hours. If there's anything else that you guys would really like to talk to, now's a good time to bring it up, or I think we're just going to... Kent, give us a wave. There, that was easy.
Oh, yeah, Matt. Yeah, Matt, 2 fingers.
Favorite gear to circuit bend? Roland TR-707.
Hmm.
Absolutely. All of the really good stuff is exposed. Super easy to put in a patch bay. Most of the voice circuits are really easy to add drastic tuning range to. The 707 was the one of those machines that you could not edit the sample sound at all. You couldn't control decay or noise content or snappy or tuning or anything. And circuit bending a 707 is a lot of fun, and there are a lot of people who do good work on them. I had one for a long time, but I just wasn't using it. What do you call a giant ape just after he's had a wank? Spent Kong. Oh God, Spent Kong. Oh dear. Yeah. Well, hang on a minute. Favorite. Wait, what was that? Is AI the future of synthesis, or are we analog subtractive forever? Who knows? Can you talk about the Kawai additive synths like the K5000? I had a K5000S for many years. I adored it. Absolutely adored it. I wish I hadn't gotten rid of it. Incredibly well built, incredibly easy to use, by far the most intuitive additive synthesizer ever created. Played like a dream. And if I had space, I would, I'd have one in my studio, but there you go. Do you have any stories about picking up long lost synths or other cool electronics for audio work at thrift stores? No, I have never. Well, no. Once in my life, I found a couple of really nice old synths in a pawn shop, and I bought one and I didn't buy the other, and I have neither. So there we go.
No, I don't think I found anything decent in a pawn shop. In a pawn shop, maybe, but not a pawn shop.
Yeah, I believe me, I get the difference. No, I found a Mini Moog for $250 and had it for about 6 months. The only Mini Moog I ever owned, and I played with it, and I got an appreciation for what it did, and then I sold it to a friend for the same amount of money. And do not feel that I was ripped off. No, the machine that got me was there was this synthesizer in there that someone had covered. You remember that old sticky holographic tape that you could make everything sort of shine in the light with? This guy covered literally his entire synthesizer with it. He covered the front panel. He covered all the controls, everything. And the thing looked like ass, and I had no idea what it was. And I didn't want to buy it because I had no idea if it even worked, and I didn't know how I was ever going to get that crap off of it because the adhesive wasn't designed to come off. And I found out 30 years later that it was a Mini Korg.
Oh.
And that would have been fun. My friend found a synth in a barn, got it for 20 quid. Well, Emmy up in Philadelphia found a GX1 in a barn, and they got it for a little bit more than that, but they got it.
Yeah, well, weird things knocking about somewhere.
Hesitate to repeat this question because I'm always on about it, but gentlemen, what are your favorite books about music other than the obvious, Dr. M? Obviously, my book is not my favorite about music, but one of the other Bukes is, which is Push, Turn, Move. The very first one. It is the book I wanted to write, but Kim did it better. Are there other books about music that I really love? Just looking here. Recording Unhinged by Sylvia Massey is a good book. Talking about all the bizarre stuff that's happened to her in various studios. And no, that's I do have others, but those are the ones that stand out. Those are the ones I go back and reread. And Our Band Could Be Your Life by Michael Azerrad, which is a history of American punk during the 1980s. So it talks about bands like Minor Threat and Black Flag and Dinosaur Jr. and the Butthole Surfers and Fugazi and so on.
Yeah.
What about you, Kent? Anything?
If I learn to read, I'll let you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is that. Are there any scratch and sniff synth books that let you smell how those synths were new out of the box and fresh from the factory? No, because there aren't any to sample.
Mm.
My books are not about music, but for music.
I mean, I've had synthesizers come in that do smell weird, though.
Oh, yeah.
Some very sort of like, what the hell has happened to this thing?
Yeah.
There was a Prodigy, and when you turned it on, it smelled like it had been sexually assaulted at some point.
You?
Straight up, yeah. It was like, you couldn't get rid of the smell.
Pete Greenwood, favorite chip? Curtis 3324, the multi-mode filter chip that was invented for the expander. That was easy. I don't know any other chips. That is the only chip I know, but it's my favorite.
Favorite chip?
Favorite chip? I don't know.
Favorite chip?
Fishand.
McCain. Yeah. SSM's a pox on thee.
Oh boy, you're gonna have a mafia contract on you for saying that.
Yeah.
I know.
2020s, 2030s, 2050s. Rot in hell, you shite. Favorite chip? I think it'd have to be the 74 LS150.
Okay. No idea what that's used in, but
that's used in the Synth AKS touch keyboard.
Ah,
clever little thing.
Very neat. Of course, we could always cheat and just say the 555.
We could, yeah, or the CA3080.
Yep.
If you can find one. UA726. If you've got money to burn.
Well, yeah. Oh, look at this. Automatic Gainsay just dumped a bunch of videos about, is coastal synthesis a myth? I'm going to have to watch that. I really am, because, I've always thought that East Coast, West Coast synthesis made about as much sense as East Coast, West Coast hip hop, but that's just me.
No, I know what you mean.
There is a 555 synth app for iOS. Is there? How weird.
Okay.
You know what I'd love to do, though? Talking of synths, I would love just for a couple of days, I would love to get my hands on an Akai Timberwolf just to see really in depth what everybody's talking about. Because the whole reason the Timberwolf got famous as such a shite machine is because of the YouTube video of the Akai rep who had no idea what he was doing trying to demo it. Because it was such an incredible laugh riot. But, as a machine, there are ones out there that are worse. It's gotten to be a joke. And one of these days I'd like to mess with it.
I think what it is, from the short time I spent messing with it, is that it has this kind of a lack of control. It's very good at just going nah, and that's about all it. There is no subtleties to it.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a good one to circuit bend. I'll bet you could do all kinds of really bizarre, wacky crap with that by wiring components together. And
I think the best mod you could do with that is to back a Buick over it, to be honest.
Well, there is that. Yeah. A wolf with a loss of bladder control. I don't know. Timberwolf has individual outs per voice.
Yeah.
You see, right there.
But it doesn't help.
Well, but it depends on what you run each voice through. You see, that's what Tangerine Dream used to do. Edgar and Chris had Prophet 5s that were modified for individual outs, and they put an Electro-Harmonix big muff on each individual output to get that incredible distortion because there was no intermodulation. Dr. Mike, don't you die. Well, thank you. I'm not sure where that came from, but I've seen someone add a big patch bay to the back of the Timberwolf. Those voices should be connected straight to ground. Dev null. Bad single voices are still bad voices. This is true.
Yeah.
But I'd like to get my hands on one just to screw around with it a little bit. Kent, we're sending you to bed. I think we're calling it for the day.
Yeah.
We've got we're getting silly at this point, and if you're starting to lose it, I think it's probably time for you to feed the dogs one more time so they'll leave you the hell alone and then get horizontal for a while and stop talking. Save your voice.
Yeah.
I want a second Timberwolf so I don't have to buy an Oberheim 8 voice. Oh, God.
Wow.
Wagyu, you are on fire today. Morphed into a pub show. Yes, it did. And
it did, didn't it?
Yeah, we've had a couple of pints. This has been fun. But I think it's time for bid you all a fair adieu.
Yeah, I think there's no illusion about how the level of professionalism that Robbie brings to the show.
Well, let's put it this way, Kent. After this program, Ben will never have to worry again. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. Thanks, troopers. A clean pub show. Sterling job. Spam YouTube support to fix the emote bug. Ta-ta for now. Guys, it's always great to be here. I'm always glad to guest. But let's all wish Kent a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
Put you back on the healing prayers list, buddy.
Yeah.
Great to see everybody. Hopefully we'll be back next week. Do you have any idea who's on next week, Kent? I have no information about who's. Yeah, I know. Never mind. Yeah. Another contribution from Wagyu. Thanks. Oh, and guys, by the way, before you leave, if you haven't clicked the like button, please do. It helps. Like, share. That is now turning into money for us. So please, before you go, just yeah. Okay. Going to let you all go now. Are you ready to say goodnight, Kent?
Yeah, sure.
Good night, Kent.
Good night, everyone.
All right.
Take care and stay safe. Do not get this fecking thing.
Yeah. Everybody be well. All right.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon. Oh, and happy birthday again. I sing the Body Electric.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
And right before we go, Witty.
Oh.
All right. Drinks for all. Get better. Can't get better, Fiona.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Hit the stop button, Kent.
All right. I have to find the insidious thing. Hang on. I think. Oh, God. What am I doing? There we go.